And the value that we added is like we use data. Like we always promise that we're going to get to AI from day zero. Like we're going to use AI and data here to really help stores find products that we are going to guarantee that sells well in the store.
Did you know that there's another Canadian-made alternative to Amazon? Founded in 2017, Faire works with retailers that have real physical stores find great products to sell. You know, the types of things you don't often find on Amazon nowadays. And it's not just the anti-Amazon agenda that connects Shopify with Faire. Shopify actually invested in Faire in 2023, making the company its preferred wholesale marketplace for Shopify merchants. Both companies also have a Canadian connection. In fact, Faire's Toronto office and its Kitchener-Waterloo headquarters used to be Shopify offices. Kitchener-Waterloo headquarters. I thought Faire was headquartered in San Francisco. Do not make the mistake of saying that to this week's guest, Marcelo Cortes, who is the co-founder and chief architect of Faire. An immigrant from Brazil, Marcelo came to the Waterloo region about 20 years ago and has spent the last 2 decades essentially advocating for tech to build in his new backyard. On this podcast, we talk about a lot of different things. Faire's approach to AI, how it's helping its customers navigate the trade war and tariffs, all really, really important stuff. But the heart of this conversation is a story of an immigrant entrepreneur who fell in love with Canada and is trying to merge Silicon Valley's DNA with what we have here to build something different and better. So, how exactly did Marcelo Cortes fall in love with Canada? Let's dig in. Marcelo, thank you so much for doing this. I think Faire is a company that has a really, really unique perspective on what is happening on several fronts on both sides of the border. But where I maybe want to start is for people who are unfamiliar, can you just explain what Faire does?
So yeah, Faire is a wholesale marketplace. Right? We mostly work with physical stores, so retail shops. You can think of like gift shops, coffee shops, bookstores. We help them source products. And so because we're a marketplace, we have the other side of the marketplace, which is the brands that sell on Faire. So today we have about 100,000 brands and hundreds of thousands of retailers all over the world that we help them connect to each other to source products. I mean, this is a thing that has never really happened. I think retailers have always bought products offline. They go to trade shows or they are visited by sales reps, and nobody really managed to bring them online. The same way that like took Amazon a long time back in the day to bring consumers online to shop online. These stores have historically been shopping offline, and like there's many things that we did as a company to make sure that we add enough value to the stores and to the brands, to both sides of the marketplace, to bring them online and like make this a successful business.
Gotcha. Okay, so this is, as I understand, this is like B2B2C marketplace, right? This is business to business sales that eventually turn into products that everyday consumers buy. Do you have a specific like vertical of products or types of businesses that are more predominant in this space that kind of need your support, either because they're like they're selling in in-person stores, or there's just maybe like a particular vertical or product that you guys jumped on early and found success with?
We do. The truth is that a lot of offline retail has historically worked the same way. Like they go to trade shows. That's where they meet new brands. They like to see products in person, and that's where they establish relationships. So what we built is applicable to many segments and categories. But on our business itself, when we started, we were very focused on gift as a category, things that were not as seasonal and like not huge, easy to ship. Also because as I said, as I mentioned, we added a lot of benefits to these retailers, and one of the benefits that we added, two big things that we do for them, or let's talk about the three benefits that we do for them. One is like they never had data, right? You think about a small shop, they buy on intuition. They go into to a trade show, they see products, they touch it, they talk to a salesperson, and they're like, I think my customers are gonna like this, and but they have to bet on the product. They have to put their money up front, buy wholesale, so they have to buy 20 units, 40 units, 50 units, pay for it up front, put it on the shop, and hope that it's going to sell. And if it doesn't sell, they're kind of stuck with that product. They usually have to spend a lot of time and money getting rid of it, right? Like giving discounts just to like get it off the shelf so they can replace it with something else. They make too many mistakes, they go out of business, right? So this is where we focused from day zero. So we went to gift as a category. And the value that we added is like we use data. Like we always promised that we're going to get to AI from day zero. Like we're going to use AI and data here to really help stores find products that we are going to guarantee that sells well in the store. And what we mean by guarantee that it sells, not that we are going to like say this product for sure we're going to sell, but what we did is we gave them terms. So things that they buy with us, they have 60 days to pay, which historically, again, the small shops never had. And within those 60 days, they can return anything for free, no questions asked. I mean, we ask questions, but they can return no matter what they answer, right? It's just
Gotcha.
so with that, the goal has always been to allow them to try new products, more new products, because people don't want to keep going to a store if they always see the same things. They need new inventory. But again, adding this inventory has always been a process that's full of anxiety for our customers. And we wanted to remove that. We're like, you need to have more products, try new products, find things that really work, and then you stick with those products, right? So we started in gifts. We became pretty successful. We grew pretty quick within the business category. And we kept expanding categories, expanding internationally as a business. We started in the US only on both sides. And then initially we expanded the brand side internationally. So brands from all over the world could ship to the US, which is one place where tariffs come into play today.
Yeah. We'll get
And
to that
then
for sure.
we expanded on the retailer side, first to Canada, of course, and eventually to Europe, and then eventually to Australia as well. And we will still keep looking in the future to expand more that. But the category expansion also happened. So we started with gifts, and then we expanded to many similar categories to gift or related to gift, like home decor, pets, babes, men's. And then we start to expand to categories that even like Amazon has never been really successful, like apparel, like clothing. Uh, Today, one of our fastest growing categories is books, which is very interesting as well for us. So yeah, we keep adding more as categories as time goes, adding more categories and expanding to things that still make sense, right? We're still not going after like furniture, things that are hard to return because of the free returns that we offer to customers.
Okay, that's interesting. Like you're touching in a lot of different places of commerce, which to me would be messy and scary. But I guess for you guys, you see it as an opportunity, especially to use that data to drive some insights. But I want to just dig in one level um, closer because you had mentioned like you're kind of doing some stuff that Amazon doesn't do. In some ways, it seems like you're a competitor to Amazon and like providing these kind of fulfillment relationships for transactions to happen. But then it also seems like you are all this interesting counterparts to like Shopify, which is a competitor to Amazon for some of these things. And I should note, you've received some strategic investment from Shopify. I think you guys have a bit of a partnered relationship. Do you want to maybe like explain the Venn diagram overlap of like you, Shopify, and Amazon? Because I would think that would help maybe our audience who might be unfamiliar understand all the different places that you play in the commerce space.
Yeah, for sure. And this is the thing that has come up from, I guess, day minus one. Right? We start to
Yeah.
talk to investors, and they're like, "How about Amazon?" And it's the interesting thing is like because we're serving, we started with very small stores, right? That will sell like from 100,000 to like $1 million a year. We have expanded to larger stores today, but in the beginning, it was like we were really focused on tiny stores like boutique shops, specialty shops. They're very proud of the things they sell. They want unique things. They don't want like you commodities, anything that like things that you find anywhere. They like the fact that when a customer enters their store, they like to talk about their products. They talk about, oh, I found this from this tiny brand and whatever, whether it's close to them. Many of them like to be brands that are close by, same state, same province type of thing, or it's an international, or it's focused on whatever type of store that they have. So they're very proud of their inventory. So they, in a way, they never want to buy or sell a thing in their store that is sold on Amazon.
Mm.
So there is this like there isn't even like an intersection. We have a filter from day zero or very early days on our platform that is like not sold on Amazon, and like it's basically like on for almost ever because everybody uses that filter because they don't want to buy things that are on Amazon. With Shopify, we have always had a great relationship from day zero. We even interesting fact is that we even share today two of our large offices in Canada used to be Shopify spaces. But there's a very funny story from we went to meet Shopify in our very first year. It was like me and my co-founder Max going to talk to them in their office in Toronto, this amazing office space, and we were like a 10-person company. And I was like, wow, this office is really incredible. And guess what? Years later, today we have that space, and it's our office in Toronto, which I love. It's very large, but we eventually took it over. And then yeah, it's like Shopify and us. There's a lot of intersection. Our customers are very similar, right? The brands that use our platform, usually they use Shopify to sell their products directly to consumers. The retailers that buy from us also, we actually recommend, especially during COVID, we recommended them to go build Shopify stores to try to sell online if they didn't have that as well, because we were like, your store might be shut down during COVID. You need to find other sales channels, and like if you don't have an online presence, go build one. Shopify is the place for you to go. So there was this kind of informal relationship that we formalized eventually. And today we send customers to Shopify. They send customers to us. Like if you sign up for Shopify and they will ask you like, do you buy products wholesale? If you do, you should go look at Faire. They are partners. And similarly, like they have their point of sale, which we connect to. You're integrated with stores that use Shopify, and there's a lot of optimizations that we do for these stores there. So we also, when stores comes to us and they're like, hey, we tell them you don't have a point of sale yet. Why don't you go get Shopify's point of sale? There's a lot of integrations that we add that makes our life a lot easier. And if you need an online presence to sell, go use Shopify as well, and so on.
Gotcha. Okay, so I'm hearing two things from you on this. One, in that because you're the wholesale B2B2C marketplace, you're like one step, depending on how you look at the stack, above or below where Shopify plays. So there's a natural connectivity there. But then again, because of the retail component, I'm assuming that integration for you is really great because you're getting data on what's selling, so you can provide that back to your marketplace in terms of recommendations of, again, taking the guesswork out of the assumption of like what inventory they're going to buy is actually going to move through. Is that correct?
There's a lot, yeah. So there's a lot. That's exactly it. We are a different level. Like Shopify, anybody who sells using a Shopify store needs to buy products from somewhere, right? And we are the best place to buy wholesale. So if they're buying wholesale products, we are the best place for them to do it. So there's that synergy, and yes, it's a different level. I mean, they can source products from other places too, but like, of course, we prefer them to use Faire. And then on the point of sale system, there's a lot we can do. Right? If you're a store and you use the point of sale system, so I mean, you have to think like, especially the small stores, they're busy, right? They do a lot of things. They are doing accounting. They're hiring people. They're maintaining the store. When they buy products, especially wholesale, imagine that one day a box shows up and there's at their door, and like now they have all these new products that they need to go to their point of sale and spend hours registering, uploading photos, putting descriptions. If they use a Shopify point of sale, for example, and they integrate with Faire and they bought the products from Faire, first of all, as soon as that box arrives in their store, all these products automatically show up in their system. They have all the descriptions, all the images, the wholesale price, the retail price, the inventory number. So as things change, we can update it automatically. As their inventory changes, we can give them notifications. Hey, you're running out of this product. That's a pretty good seller for you. It's time for you to order more before you run out of stock, type of thing. And of course, with the data that we get from the point of sale as well, it becomes a lot easier for us to give them even better recommendations, right? Like we see that they sell something, and we know another store could be in a different province, in a different country, sell similar type of products. And like when those products sell well in that store, there is another third product that like goes pretty well as well. Usually if the store has that, it also
Yeah.
performs well in the store that's similar. So we're like, hey, this, you should take a look at something like this. It's likely to work very well in your store.
Okay, so you've got that add this one more thing to cart recommendation loop going as well on your end. Okay.
Well,
Um,
this is a very small example of like how we use intelligence, like or AI, to recommend products, right? We That's a thing we have been enhancing and enhancing from day zero. One, just to give you an idea of like when we start the company, that was our promise. We're gonna become so good at recommending products, the stores are gonna want to buy from us because we're gonna sell them products that are going to for sure sell. Again, if not, they can return for free. But we for our business to work, because we don't charge anything for the returns, and we take the inventory risk ourselves. We don't send the inventory back to brands. We take it, right? We need to be good at it. Our first year, our return rate was like through the roof. Right? We didn't know it. We hadn't built the system yet. It was like we were in the 25 to 30% return rate, and like there's no way we could make our business work with those types of return rates. Over the years, that rate just kept dropping by a lot. And today, for older cohorts, the return rate is below 1%. It's like
oh
unheard in
wow.
e-commerce. And that's because again, all the intelligence that we built around our recommendations.
Part of the reason why I was asking these questions is to make sure I understood that you, even though you're doing the digital marketplace stuff, the type of commerce that you're playing in, you do have a physical touch point to these products in some ways. And when it goes wrong, I guess, or when the algorithm isn't 100% accurate in the recommendation, maybe we have seen Shopify try to get a little bit more integrated in their stack. They bought a logistics company, I think Flexports. They had done a couple of other things as well. They were trying to again take a little bit more of that Venn diagram of Amazon and do the some of the fulfillment considerations. It didn't work out for them very well, and they eventually kind of offloaded a lot of that and went back to focusing on their core thing. I'm wondering if you have ever had conversations with them, knowing that you have a formalized relationship, as to whether or not a deeper, fair Shopify integration or ownership consideration might be closer to the metal. Have you had those conversations?
I mean, we're very close with them. We definitely talk about a bunch of different things and more synergy that we could have. There's a lot of intersection. Shopify is also doing a lot, and we are also doing a lot. So like uh, there are potentially more things for us to do together in the future. Our partnership, the official partnership, is in a way pretty recent, right? So we're still like improving it and making sure that it's working well for both sides. But I'm sure that like it's definitely looking good, and in the future, I'm sure there will be more for us to do together. Uh, I don't have many details of like, or I can't go into too many details of all the things that we could do together or that we have
Okay.
discussed to do together. But yeah, definitely, there's definitely a lot more synergy for us for the future.
I want to get to the origin story a little bit because you had referenced it before. This is a really unique circumstance where Faire is kind of a Canadian company, but not a Canadian company. It's a global story and it's also a local story. Um, Headquartered in the Valley
No.
with origins in Kitchener-Waterloo and the Velocity program, and then you as a co-founder are coming in from Brazil. And there's an interesting dynamic, maybe tension there, but then also like within your company, like integration between these different departments or offices and teams. And I'm wondering if through that origin story, you can kind of take us through how you've solved for this.
Yes, let me correct you first there because there's a lot of we our headquarters is not in San Francisco. We have two headquarters. So anywhere you look, we have two headquarters, one in Waterloo, one in San Francisco. It's a dual headquartered company, and we are just as Canadian as we are American. Again, I have been here from day zero as one of the co-founders, and like
Mhm.
our company has always had a very strong presence here, and we have never looked at it as like, oh, we have a little bit of things in Canada. It has always been like we are just as Canadian as we are American. Let me start by I'll talk a little bit about myself. This is not about me, but like let's start with me, how I got to Canada, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day, this is like I don't want to age myself, but like before the 2000 burst of the internet bubble, I was already working with technology in Brazil. I was very young, but like I started my career and I was being pretty successful being like a software developer there. Uh, and then one day I was like 18 and I was like, hey, I'm being very successful here in Brazil, but I should go to the US. That's where technology happens, right? Like at the time, like Microsoft was the company. I was like, I should go try to work for Microsoft. As I started to look at options, like there wasn't really a direct path for me to go from where I was to the US. But I was like, okay, I need to learn English first very well so that I can actually work on an English speaking company. Uh, Canada sounds like a great place. It's easier to get a visa. It's potentially cheaper to go there. Coming from Brazil, it's like I like the fact that there's snow here. Like I can go through. I never been in a place that has snow in my life. So Canada became the like a link. I was like, I'll go to Canada, and eventually the goal is to end up in the US, right? So I came to Canada, 2001. Arrived January 2001, in the middle of winter. Things were not as easy as I thought. I was like, I arrived here with like, English, barely speaking English, no visa, right? I had a tourist visa, just I could go to school. Uh, Anyways, that was a long process for me to like do what I wanted. I learned English, of course, and uh, but I started to get established in Canada. My first month here, I met my wife. Well, not my wife at the time, but she became my wife over the years, and that was obviously a big thing that kept me here as well. And I kept fighting to like get established, right? I like first I need to, and then like it's a long story. I won't go through all the hoops, but like it wasn't easy. I got applications denied for work visa. I got immigration denied. I was asked to leave. I left. I came back. Uh, Eventually, I finally got established. Right, I got a visa. I started working, and funnily enough, during this period, like Microsoft, I did get interviews with Microsoft, and they're like, "Come to Redmond," and I'm like, "Well, I'm kind of having a good time in Canada, and I like it here, and like I'm gonna keep here. Well, maybe we'll talk later." So I kept doing my thing here, and eventually I started to like be like, I really like Canada. Like I like the life I have here. I need to get more established here, and that's when I was like, I need to go get a degree in Canada if I want to stay here. University of Waterloo is the best in computer science. I should go there. Again, it was a process for me to get accepted. Like I fought a lot with the school. They're like, your grades from Brazil make no sense. Like you're a mature student, you already work. I got accepted eventually. Moved to Waterloo. I was always working full time and going to school full time. Uh, and like life was great in a way. I was getting what I wanted, getting established in Canada and progressing here. Until, of course, as you guys know, Google bought this little company in Waterloo and started their office with like 6 or 7 people. And of course, I applied right away. I'm like, now Google is the company, and like I applied to Google. I was still going to school, still working full time with technology. It was a tiny company that had 6 or 7 employees. They were building Gmail for BlackBerry. So Google was like, oh, that's cool. We need to like, BlackBerry was the phone at the time. Like Android didn't exist, iPhone didn't exist. So they acquired this company so that they could keep building Gmail for BlackBerry and build more mobile apps. So that's why, if people don't know, they should know a lot of mobile development. Very important mobile development has happened for Google in Waterloo as the
Yeah.
office grew. They added more and more mobile, and that's I'll get there, but that's how I got to Google as well. I applied and I never heard back, so I kept doing my thing, kept going to school. A couple of years later, Google reached out and like, hey, would you like to explore opportunities? I'm like, yes. First thing they do is like, so when can you come to California? And I'm like, I'm enjoying my time here. I have no, I'm going to school here. I have my wife here. At this point, I had a kid already, and I was like, why, you have an office here. Why can't I work here? And they're like, no, you need to come to California. I was like, why don't I do the first interview, which is remotely first, and then we see. So I did the phone interview with them, like a technical phone interview. After my interview, they were like, you can work anywhere you want. So let's get you talking to Google in Waterloo. So I went to Google, interviewed. At this point, I met for the first time Steve Woods, who's very well known here, who was the general manager for Google in Canada. They were very good friends, but at the time I was like, holy, I'm meeting Steve Woods. The guy is like, super impressive, amazing. And I was like very nervous to meet him for the first time going to the Google office. But I was meeting him. He was just trying to sell me in joining at this point because I had passed my interviews already. So I joined Google. This is like 2010.
Yeah.
And that's when the doors for me got open to Silicon Valley in a way. So I joined Google. I knew nothing about what was happening in Silicon Valley. Uh, I was going to California a lot, like almost every month. And then I started to see what was happening there with Silicon Valley and the companies and technology and startups. And that was fascinating to me. I was like, wow, there is a different world out there that I didn't know much about. And like, that's where I need to get to. So I loved working at Google. I loved everything Google offers, all the perks, all the offices, everything that they have, the technology I was working with. But I was like, I need to build companies. I need to be a startup, right? I need to see how a successful startup operates. I need to go work at one. And so I interviewed with a bunch of startups that were like rocket ships at the time. And I got very fortunate because one guy that used to work with me at Google here called me and said, "Hey, I just joined this company that's amazing. You should come talk to." I'm by myself in Canada. They only have offices in San Francisco. Maybe if you join me, we are able to start having an office in Canada for this company. And this was Square, or today known as Block.
Yeah.
But back when they were like 300 employees, like just getting started, right? And I was like, that's amazing. Like Square, like started by Jack Dorsey. He started Twitter. He definitely knows what he's doing when it comes to startup. I'll go there. I will potentially find my next co-founders, and I will learn a lot about startups work. But same thing happened. It was very funny, right? I interviewed with Square. I flew to California, did a bunch of interviews. Came back, they call me and they're like, "Hey, when can you join? We'd love to have you. When can you move to California?" And I'm like, "No, I'm moving to California. No, I have a good life in Canada. I like being here. I love the country. I love everything the country offers to me. You guys have a person here that's working for you. Why can't I join him?" And they're like, "No, we don't want to have more people there." They had no plans of having an office here, right? So eventually I had to think very hard and I told them, "Okay, if you can't hire me in Canada, I'm not joining." And like 2 weeks later, they called me and said, "You know what? You can join. You can stay in Canada. You work from your home together with the other person here, which was Jess Wilson." I was like, "Amazing. That's what I want." Signed my offer, started working there. And I got very lucky because, like, 2 months in my Square journey, I was just getting started at the company. The CTO calls me and Jesse, and he's like, "Hey, we are working on this prototype for this tiny app here that we're going to allow people to send money to each other." At the time, it was called the Square Cash. And I was like, "This is it, Jesse. We're going to get this product. We're going to build it. We're going to build an office around this product in Canada. It's going to be big." And we had questions. We were not as sure of that, but I was like, this is it. This is it for us. And we will build a product inside of startup and we'll learn how to do it, right? So we jumped on it. And that was the beginning of the Cash App as it is today. Like we were like 4 or 5 people working on the product. Uh, all the engineers, the 2 engineers doing it were in Canada at the time, me and Jesse. Uh, Everything else was in California, like product design. But we were like a tiny 5, 6 person team. And it was amazing. Like I got everything I wanted because the 3 of the 5 people working on the early versions of that product are my co-founders at Faire today. That's one thing I was looking for. Is like I need next co-founders, but I need co-founders that are not just engineers. I want complementary skills. I want somebody who's good at product business, somebody who's good at data, machine learning, and this. And like I had everything there. We built a very successful product inside of a startup, and I met my next co-founders. But the cool thing is like, so I started bringing people that I knew, like from Google and other places, to Square. And we started hiring in Canada, even though we didn't have an office here.
The BetaKit Podcast is presented by OVH Cloud, the global cloud provider you can trust. With OVH Cloud, startups and innovators are free to build on their own terms, no lock-in, no hidden fees, just transparent, sovereign cloud solutions. Choose from over 80 cloud services to build and scale your infrastructure, hosted in Canada and across 44 data centers worldwide. OVH Cloud puts you back in control of your digital journey with performance that never blinks. Start building today at ovhcloud.com. The BetaKit Podcast is also brought to you by the BetaKit Guide, Wildfire. This winter, the world watched as LA burned. In 2023, Canadian wildfires scorched millions of hectares of forest and displaced hundreds of communities with huge costs to our climate and economy. The BetaKit Guide Wildfire explores the role of Canadian technology in helping to predict, prevent, and adapt to the global reality of wildfire. Presented in partnership with NorthX Climate Tech, you can read the full guide today at betakit.com/wildfire. So all the co-founding team members of Faire were scattered globally, right? Is that what aided you in having this kind of like multiple headquarter identity? It really resonates with me that you were, even before getting into University of Waterloo, as a new immigrant Canadian, you were already pushing against the gravitational pull of Valley or Bust that so many UW grads face today. How did that then inform, once you had the idea for Faire, building and structuring the company?
Yeah. So when we started, we started to talk to Square investors. They were like, they knew us from Square, like they knew what we did there. They were like, how much money do you want? Right? Raising money for us was very easy, but we also went through Y Combinator, which helped a lot. But yeah, both of my co-founders at the time were in San Francisco, and I was always here. Right, and the team, early days of Cash App, they were always two offices, San Francisco and here. But eventually, over those 4 years, the Cash App itself became very distributed. We had offices in Europe, we had offices in Australia. We have more than one office in the US as well. Before COVID, we started to build a very successful distributed team. So when we started the company, we raised our seed round from companies like Sequoia and like very large invest Kozla. I remember like our investors were skeptical. They were like, "Hey, we never seen a company start with this distributed setup, like an office in Canada, an office in the US, and being successful." There was another pull for me to go back to the Valley, and to be honest, even from my co-founders, we had those conversations. They were like, "Are you sure you shouldn't move here?" And I was like, "No, I'm." We built the Cash App. You saw how successful we were. You saw the talent that we have in Canada. We know we can make this successful. And we told the investors the same story. We're like, "Hey, we haven't built a company like this, but we have built a very successful product. It is a company within Square that has had this distributed setup from day zero. We know how to make it work." And we did. And like they asked questions, but to be honest, you would accelerate a couple of years into the Faire story, and like our investors are like, it's so grateful that we have an office in Canada. Like, like COVID came, there was this giant war for talent. Nobody could hire. People are leaving jobs and joining another company. And in Canada, like that wasn't as bad. Like we could find the talent we needed. The quality was just as good. People weren't changing jobs as often. They were way more focused on building what we needed to build and aligned with the mission of our company. So once they saw that, they understood like that there is ways to do this, and like they became very grateful that we actually have this.
Do you feel like if you and your co-founders didn't have that experience working at a global company and success with a distributed team, that you wouldn't have been as successful in pushing back or even thought of pushing back? Because I'm wondering if that's the difference between you and other, let's say, velocity grads who were not mature students, who didn't have that experience, who are like 22 and being told it is Valley or bust and that they
Yeah.
have to leave. Like, did that give you the confidence to say, no, we're going to do it the way we want to do it?
It did, and like it definitely helped, and it helped that we had done it. But we learned some of the pitfalls, and like even me being part of Square in Canada, I felt some of the pains of it. So like when we built a company around it, I tried to fix some of the things that I felt were painful. Like there are things that you must do to make it work, right? Like for example, if you have two offices from day zero, you need to have leadership and decision making in both offices. Like we can't. Wake up in Waterloo, which is 3 hours ahead of San Francisco, and like need to make a
Wait.
decision and wait for 3 hours, right? You can't build a startup like that. With like 3 hours, it's a lot. We built so many things in 3 hours, right? So you have to be able to have leadership here, decision making here, and trust from both sides, so that like both sides can keep doing this. We can make decisions and we move forward, and we don't get blocked. Like you will get blocked on some things no matter what, even if you are in the same office. So like you have to remove as much of that as you can. That was a big one. I think that's probably the biggest one. And like the other is like a company understanding that from day zero that you are distributed and you have different time zones, right? Because again, it's another pain I felt both at Square and Google, like working with offices in San Francisco. They forget that you are in a different time zone. It's like the whole company is prepared for like 9 to 6 or 7 p.m. in California. So like 7 p.m. I'm in California. I'm getting a phone call in Canada. Like they want to chat. They have a meeting, and I'm like, hey, it's 10 p.m. here. Like it's. I mean, we of course as we're building a startup, we make these things work, but like the company has to be mindful of those things. When we set up, for example, our all hands meeting that we have at Faire every 2 weeks, it is at a time that most offices can join live from the office. We don't want people watching recordings of all hands. We want them to join real time and be able to ask questions and participate. And we try to present from every office as well. We don't present only from San Francisco or only from Waterloo. So it's small things, but they add up and they make or break a company as well.
Can you give us the breakdown now of like where the company's headcount is at in total, and then the geographic split, either between, I guess, both between the two headquarters, but then elsewhere in the world?
Yeah, so for sure. I mean, today we became a very distributed company, right? We have presences in like we at some point we had 10 offices. We decreased some of the offices, but like we are in New York, LA, San Francisco, Atlanta, Salt Lake City, London, UK, Waterloo, Toronto. So we're very distributed. We also have a presence in Melbourne, in Australia. uh, in Waterloo, in Canada itself, we have almost 300 of our employees. The company is about 1,000 today, so like about a third. I mean, we started with three co-founders. A third of the company was always basically in Canada, and that's still true today. San Francisco has about the same, maybe a little bit more than 300 employees there, and the rest is scattered through all these offices. London has a large number as well. I would say, guessing here, but it's in the 150 to 200 people in London, UK, because all of Europe is centralized in London for us. So and then like yes, like the other offices, and we have Brazil as well. Right? You mentioned it earlier. We have about 35 people in São Paulo, Brazil as well.
Noting that your current headcount is a little bit less than what I think your kind of post-pandemic peak was, and we can get into a little bit of like that pandemic high that all commerce companies were kind of feeling, and then maybe a little bit of that like 2023 drop off. What I'm maybe more interested in right now is the 2025 moment of how this company deals with the uncertainty of a trade war.
Yeah. So I mean, it's even hard to talk about impact for Faire because everything is about our customers. I love to say this because I'm really proud of it. The beauty of our marketplace and the thing I love about it is that we are successful as a company only if we make our customers successful. Like if we make it work for the retailers, they buy more products, they grow their business, they start new locations, they buy more from the brands on our platform, the brands are more successful, and we are in the middle being more successful. So like because of this, from day zero, we have always focused on giving as much as we can to both sides of the marketplace and giving them value. So when something like this happened, it was the exact same during COVID. Like we were like, COVID happened. We were a super well-funded company. We had all this money in the bank. We could have just slowed down and waited a year or two and to see what happens. But instead, we were like, no, like we need to make sure our customers survive. And like we put a lot of effort into helping them. It's the exact same now. Like, of course, what affects us is like whether our stores are going to be buying more or selling more or less. This affects our business, but like most important them all is us putting them first. It's like how can we help our companies? They're all these people are like they don't know what's coming, right? They don't know what to expect. They're not like MBAs in business. They started the
Mhm.
business, but like they're small stores like that they do a lot for the business. So like even for them trying to understand how to behave, how to deal with tariffs, what the tariffs really are, how much do they have to pay is hard. So our goal is to like be there for them and be the technology company that helps them navigate it. We just 2 days ago launched a blog post highlighting all the things that we are doing for our customers. But I'd love to go through some of them here with you. So first of all, first and foremost is like we are like helping them source products that don't have tariffs. Like like there are many things we had already been building with AI. For example, image search on products that they can use. So like if they have a product that they sell, and suddenly the price of that product went through the roof. It doesn't matter if they buy it from Faire or not. They can take a photo of that product, come to Faire, and search for similar products that don't have tariffs
Mm.
that would do the same for them. So first thing we did is like allow them to do that. So we added a filter on our website that shows them they can say, I want products without import duties.
Very, very similar to that no Amazon filter that you had built
Yeah,
initially,
again,
right?
like, that's what our customers want. So we have to give them what they need, right? And the next thing is, of course, making it very clear, showing what the tariffs are. Like when they're buying products, they should know like how much of that the price of those products are tariffs. So we also added that to the interface. We have a program for brands and retailers called Faire Insider. It's something similar to like an Amazon Prime type of thing, a subscription program, and that creates relationships between brands and retailers. We are as a company covering the duties for those existing relationships until June 30th to give again them time to understand it and process and prepare their business for it. Uh, we worked with the big supplier, the shipment suppliers, to lower the price. So we if they use, I talked a little bit before about Ship with Faire, with the program that we have that allow people to ship through us. Again, they can have their own shipment if they have that established already. They have a relationship with FedEx or USPS or whatever. But we have the Ship with Faire that use whatever is the most affordable, and we have amazing rates. We renegotiated and we decreased our rates, and we passed that directly to our brands by 20%. The cool thing about Faire also is that I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but like a lot of our customers, they love to source local stuff. So like if you have a store in like Nunavut, they like to source from brands that are from there as well, and they say we sell local things. Or if they are in Halifax, they will sell things that are from Nova Scotia type of thing.
Are you seeing then, knowing that we talked about how global Faire is now, and then like I guess the expanded diversity of types of things that are sold through, are you seeing slowdown or pausing on this? Is part of the reason that you're looking to maybe cover some of these costs and it sounds like negotiating some slightly better rates to keep liquidity, I guess, of activity in your marketplace?
We're not actually. I mean, if we actually take a look at the relationships on Faire and where people buy from, they are not as affected by tariffs. The truth is, a lot of our customers, when we talk about directly like retailers buying from brands, as I mentioned, a lot of them like to buy things, source things that are more local, same state, sometimes province or country. Not only because they like to source local stuff, that's definitely appealing, but also because they are usually on the hook for the price of shipping, right? And like the further the product is from them, the longer it takes to arrive and the more expensive it is. So historically, uh, that's a thing we have helped them with. Like they sometimes find cool products to buy between Europe and the US or Europe and Canada, Canada and the US. And if that product works for them, then they might start to look for replacements. They might look like, can I find something similar that's produced locally so I pay less shipment and like get it faster as well. So this is a thing that's built in our recommendation system, is to try to find them a better deal or a better a product that's sourced closer. So if you look at everything relationship that happens on Faire, the reality is it's not it's way less than half that's actually affected by tariff, way less than half that's affected by tariffs. So tariffs not like a thing that would potentially slow down our business, but it affects, as I mentioned, it can affect our customers, especially if they when they are buying their raw materials. Or yes, there are relationships that are going to cross borders, and in that case they get affected. That's why we have been focusing on helping them navigate
Yeah.
it.
I want to maybe close on this by talking just about AI again for a minute, because you referenced before how it's been such a driver of getting over time confidence amongst your kind of retailers that they're getting the right products. And it seems that you are very, very data driven. I'm wondering if you could explain any ways in which you're kind of using that data or those insights to kind of fuel this moment as it relates to the trade war.
Yeah, we are doing a lot with AI everywhere. Every department at Fair uses AI today. Like, and we have goals internally that every team should have OKRs for implementing things with AI to make them more productive or more efficient, or for again adding value to customers. There's a lot. There's, I guess, three sides of AI. Let's say one is like product or customer facing features.
Mhm.
There is productivity, right? Engineering productivity, or any other team productivity. And then there is internal tools that you can build to make, again, it's similar to productivity, but it's efficiencies within teams. I guess we're not being as going that route of Shopify, of like you need to prove that this is not replaceable by AI. Our goal has really been to like make sure. I mean, that is my role today as chief architect. there's one of my goals is like make sure that we are using AI to the extent that it should be used as much as possible. And like there, I mean, the basics everybody's doing, right? Like you use Chat GPT, you do search, you do research. But like I want to go way beyond that. It's like so many tools around that we can use to make sales more effective, marketing more effective, engineering more effective. We're trying things everywhere. Uh, we have a lot of customer visible things that we're building with AI as well, from like completely personalization model on things that people should be buying. And again, our whole recommendation system has always been built on top of AI. It's just getting to another level with the things that are coming. I talked about image search. There is things that we're working that's not launched already, but it's like native language search, right? Like you don't want to be just like doing a Google search. You want to talk to let's say a search bar, a search bar, and be like, hey, looking for jeans pants. Here's an image of what I have in mind. I want something that's
Mm,
produced in my state or my province. I want it to be between $30 and $50. So like basically, like you basically give a natural language description of what you're looking for, and it feels a lot more natural to people to do that than to try to like figure out filters and how to get to the products they want. I mean, I could keep talking about AI for like a long time here because we're using it extensively across the company everywhere.
so is that what necessitated or drove maybe your title change from CTO to chief architect? Because it sounds like you've always been the guy that's like, okay, I got to figure out how to build this in all your different roles across companies. But now it's less how do we technically implement and more like what features should we be choosing or how do we explore using this technology to hit those kind of like three core pillars that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Is that what you do as chief architect now?
Part of it. That's not what motivated. It's part of what motivated it. It's a little bit of a longer story, but truth is, me as a person, I've always been a builder. Like when I went to Google, one thing that I loved is at Google you have this individual contributor career ladder from the bottom all the way to the top. You never need to go into management to get as high as you can personally. And for me, that was like a dream. I'm like, wow, I don't, because every company I went to, I'm like doing my thing, building things, and they're like, you're doing amazing. You should be managing people. And I'm like, I don't want to be managing people. I want to keep building, right? So I got to Google and I was like, oh, in the Silicon Valley in general today, that's a normal thing, right? You have an IC ladder, you have a management ladder in every company. Uh, so of course, same thing at Faire, but by starting the company, like it was inevitable. I was managing people from day zero, and like suddenly I had 30 people underneath me, and like I started to build structure, and suddenly I had directors and managers, and like I got to a point where uh, I am on top of three orgs like IT, engineering, and data. I have over 400 people reporting towards me, and I'm not building anymore. I'm not on the
Mm,
technology anymore. I know I'm not programming anymore because it was impossible to do everything. And so I sat back and I thought, "Oh, okay, I mean, I think I did a good job. The board's happy, my co-founders are happy, the company's working. We have an amazing engineering team that I have been extremely proud of forever. But I'm not enjoying like what I'm doing as much. I want to build more. So that's when I had the conversation with my co-founders and the board, and I was like, I will look for a CTO. I want somebody who enjoys doing this job, that can do an amazing job and enjoys doing this job, and hopefully has seen the next level of growth of a
mm.
business like ours. And I mean, I was. It was a very hard thing to like give away my babies. Uh, and I talked to a lot of extremely smart and successful and like people that have done amazing things until I got to Tuan Fan. Tuan is a guy who I met back in 2017 when I was starting the company. Like I talked to my investors and I was like, hey, I need to meet a good CTO. And they're like, you should go talk to Tuan. Tuan at the time was the CTO of Uber. And this
Yep.
is the crazy years of Uber, right? Like if you talk to Tuan, he joined Uber when they had 40 engineers, and 3 years later, he grew it to 4,000.
Yep.
Like I don't know how that's possible because we grew pretty fast at Faire, not at that pace, and it was very hard. So I met with Tuan back in 2017. I left that meeting. It was like an hour and a half long meeting. I left that meeting thinking, wow, this guy knows what he's doing, and like he's impressive. He doesn't even remember that meeting me. I guess investors asked him like, go meet this little startup guy here. He needs your help, and he did. So as we were looking for a CTO for a while, so suddenly Tuan showed up and on the pipeline, and he was interested into talking to us. And I was like, "What? That is amazing!" He killed our interviews. I met with him more, and I spent a lot of time with him. And he was like, "We match so well. We believe in the same things on how engineering teams should be run and execute, and the values that we have." He was like a version of me that loves to do the job that I wasn't really loving doing, of like managing orgs and people. So I was like, you, if you want to join as a CTO, I'll be your partner. I'll be a chief architect. I will take care of the technology. I'll get back to building, and you run the orgs. And it's gonna come to a year now. Time flew, and like we have an amazing partnership. I love working with him. He loves working with me. He loves Canada. He comes here every week, every month for a week since he joined, and he can't wait to come back every time. He loves spending time with the team in Canada and being in Canada.
The two things that I love about this is that over the course of this conversation, you've articulated how you found a way to get back to doing the thing that you love doing at the beginning, but that throughout you have been this person that continues to advocate for and bring more people to Canada versus the other way around, which is pretty unique, man. So uh, I know we've gone so far over the time I promised your comms team we would need to do this, but I really appreciate you sticking around and talking through not only like Fair's journey, but your journey in Canadian tech and like how the company is navigating this really really interesting time.
No, it is my pleasure, and I mean it's. I mean, it's true. Like I talk openly about how much I love being in Canada, and for me, one thing that I would like to finish with here, if I may, is like even building Faire for me like was an opportunity to bring more of this part of this DNA from Silicon Valley to Canada. I think every ecosystem is different, but we can learn a lot from Silicon Valley, and we can merge what we have here, bring people from Silicon Valley here to work with people locally, and like basically merge this DNA, create a new DNA here. And I've had already a lot of people who left there to start companies locally in Canada. Like that's my goal. I want people that I want to like help build more companies in Canada, but by having this knowledge and this DNA that belongs not only here but everywhere, and like have more successful companies be created here. And like that makes me very happy when things like that happen.
Okay, it sounds good, and I promise you that BetaKit will never refer to Fair as an SF headquartered company again. Deal?
Perfect. That will make me happy too.